Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome.
Welcome everybody. Happy Friday.
Finally.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to say hi to everybody in chat and I'm just failing miserably.
Pouring in. They're really starting to pour in now. So we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Brandy, let's do the lineup real quick for the week. And okay. Then we'll go ahead and just bring Jessica and Rachel up, and then we'll talk about Ashmore event.
Oh, absolutely. On Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central, of course, it's Texas Front Porch with your best host, me, and that big guy named Tex, but it's me. I'm the best host. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, it is Beyond BMR with the best host, Krista, and that other guy named Bigfoot Michigan Rob. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m., it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. Don't forget that is for adults only and not for the faint of heart. At 8 p.m., it's Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and Letitia Nunnelly. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central, it's Monica Rollins with Our Paranormal World. At 8 p.m., of course, it's us, Blondes and Booze. And on Friday, right here, right now, 7 p.m., it's us again with Blondes and Booze. On Saturday at 8 p.m. Central, it's Krista and Paul on Paranormal Among Us, which is Paul's channel. Krista is his new co-host, and they've been putting out some really good content, so make sure you go over there and like and subscribe and check it out. On Sundays at 5 p.m. Central, it is Truth or Tinfoil with myself and Randy Gilbert. And at 6 p.m., Tex and Daniel Diva release their newest episode of Infamous Minds.
Wow, that's a lot.
And can we add any more? Honestly,
I hear you.
I really think I'm gonna start forgetting stuff after that.
I hear you. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest up. We have Rachel Marie and the Mermaid medium Jessica Potter, and two lovely women. Hello.
Hi, ladies. It's ladies' night.
It is ladies' night. I should have brought the drinks.
There you go.
Because we were talking, and then Chris was like, well, why don't we invite Jessica and Rachel on? I'm like, heck yeah, that'd be a good show, because unfortunately a lot of this, the field that we dabble in a lot, the cryptid world, should we say, is men. Yeah. We deal with men a lot, and sometimes, you just get sick of them. I'm sorry to all the men out there, really, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But, it was just really fun because we have been, talking about you both coming to our event. And we thought that this would be a great opportunity for everybody to get to meet you ahead of time and figure out where you're coming from. So for me, I thought that was exciting. Of course, I know Jess, and I have to say this. Here's your baby.
Oh, I'm so glad that made it.
Right there and pretty. I know the light's not on it right now, but it's pretty. It's back here.
It's a basketball. It's like close to a basketball. That thing's enormous.
Yeah. It's over 15 pounds. I mean, the thing's enormous. It's like, it came in the mail and my mom went out to get it, bless her heart. She went out there to get it. And she's like, I can't even lift it up the stairs. I was like,
look at one of Brother Hank says, all different hair colors too, meaning all of us.
I know.
The rainbow.
They're called the boos. Right there. Got the blondes and the booze. See? Works out. It works.
Right.
But yeah, my mom had a hell of a time trying to get that up the stairs. So I'm just like, man, forget it.
I mean, Jess
I
is the
realized
crystal
Rachel-
dealer.
Yeah, and Rachel has normal hair color this time. Like,
Okay,
she
but like
has
they're
normal hair
like
color.
it's purple, blue, black. So it's not even really normal black. So
Yeah, but I'm used to, like green with you, blue, neon pink. Like it's always changing.
yes, I haven't decided yet. So black is like the normal in between, like what I'm gonna do next. I have no idea. Who knows?
That's a horrible idea. That's the worst color to come back from.
I know.
Yeah, I have to go through a stage. Like I dyed it black one time, and then you go through a stage looking like a clown. It's like bright red. It's like, nope, never again.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like bright red underneath this, so like to take it off,
Oh
it's
yeah.
gonna be real nasty.
Oh my goodness. I don't envy you for that.
That's all right.
Michael
don't mind it.
Christopher, he says just having hair would be nice.
But Michael, you've got a wig. He's
Yeah.
got a wig. He's got a blonde's wig. Matter of fact, he wears it on our show every once in a
That's
while.
funny.
He's just another blonde and he'll wear his wig and he fits right in.
That's so
awesome.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. First question of the night. Brother Heck wants to know, does Rachel have graphic tee or are those tats?
Oh, these are tattoos. That's just
Yeah.
Aren't they gorgeous?
They are. They're beautiful.
Mhm.
a
Just-
little bit.
Wow.
This is like one of my favorite ones. Is my
Wow.
moth.
Oh my goodness. That is beautiful.
Yeah, I just started my leg tattoos, so you never know.
Your whole body is like, oh my god.
Well,
Look.
because a lot of people ask, well, how many tattoos you got? I hate to tell them this.
You
I don't know. But I can
It's-
tell you how many hours worth of tattoos I've got.
I can tell you how many sessions I've done, but I can't give you an
Yeah.
accurate count of tattoos at this point.
No, I mean, you lose track. And it's just like you can say, well, I've had 20 hours or 30 hours or 50 hours. You can just say, you can go that way. And I'll be like, ooh.
Honestly, I don't even know how many hours in total I've put into
Rachel's
tattoos.
just turning into one big one. She's just gonna be like one.
Well, you know what? I got tired of being
My
so
life for
white.
one.
She got tired of being so white.
Yeah.
Needed some color in my life.
I love that. I got tired of being white. Come on.
I didn't mean to kill Jess there.
So actually, I've never met you, Rachel, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in next month in May at Ashmore. Jessica, we've done several events together.
Mhm.
So yeah, you've given myself
You
reading.
keep asking me back.
Right, because we love you.
Keep coming.
Love and adore you. So
Thank you. Yeah, well, Rachel's like itty bitty, so you can just put her in your pocket and take her anywhere. So like,
Oh my gosh.
it's in your
Well,
boat.
I mean, let's put it this way, Rachel. Chris and I do not know you personally, but we know you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We know you. We've heard the stories.
I hope they're not all bad.
None of them were bad. They were funny. They were absolutely hilarious. But
yep.
Is it what I've done or what I've said? I mean, it could be
it's
either.
usually what you and Jess get into.
Yeah. The last time we saw each other in person was the human trafficking thing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, when you guys
I was
were
just talking to
almost
them.
kidnapped.
Yes. I
And
just
we
told
did-
them
we
actually
didn't
that was the
sleep.
last time we saw Chad too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Chad Lindbergh. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We should have been, it's crazy because he invited us to his car show and we're like, oh, maybe. And then we're like, no, we think we're going to stay back here. And then like while it was happening, that's all we kept thinking. We should have been at the car show, freaking Chad.
Right. We definitely wouldn't have gotten kidnapped at the car show.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Right.
Well, maybe. You never know.
Well,
They got
that is
cars
true.
on.
Never mind.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm sure everybody's getting a good vibe on what we're going to be getting at Ashmore for sure. Just to let everybody know that our Ashmore event is May 18th to the wee early hours of the 19th, what's going to happen is during the daytime, we're going to be having speakers throughout the afternoon. Then we're going to feed you, and then we're going to ghost hunt all night long. So this is going to be really super exciting. Of course, 2 of our guests are here right now, but then we have Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor. We have our very own Paul Anthony from Paranormal Among Us, and then Robin Terry, the owner of Ashmore Estates, will be speaking that day. So that is going to be exciting.
Yep.
Yes.
And tickets, you can get them through Eventbrite, and they're under Blondes and Booze.
Yeah, should be the first event that pops up. So now we can start talking about Ashmore. We had to open it up with that. And don't forget that After Dark Paranormal with Terry Mosby, which Terry Mosby, Ashmore Estates is her second home, but she is also going to be there that day with part of her crew, and they are helping us. We're helping each other put this on. So it's going to be a great time for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So Jessica, people are talking about mermaids. So let's go back to start with you. How did you come up with the mermaid medium?
So, one, I'm ADD, so I always change my hair color. I get just bored and just get over hair color, so I'm always switching up. So when I first started traveling on the road, people couldn't remember my name. They'd be like, "What's that blue, that pink, that purple color hair girl's name?" and all that. So yeah, I've always loved mermaids, did swimming and diving. And so that was my dad's nickname for me, was Little Mermaid. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm going to come up with a name to make it. And people kept buying me unicorn gifts. And I was like, it's mermaid stuff. So that's where it's like, I'm going to go up with the mermaid name. So yeah, that's how it came to be.
Awesome.
Well, I haven't heard anyone else have anything close to that. So, I'm loving that.
I take them out. As soon as I see a thread, I jump on it.
It's like, you're not getting it. It's mine. Sorry about it.
Right.
You put a
Exactly.
big old stamp on it.
Yeah.
Mine.
Exactly. Now, give us a little bit of background about what you actually do, Jessica. I mean, just an overview of what you do.
So, my main thing is mediumship. So I travel and teach workshops, how to open up your own intuition. And I teach online. I actually have my course, Get My Start for Mediumship, May 8th. And I do gallery readings. I do in-person readings. I'm also a medium that loves investigating because I love when you tie the two together, catch evidence on recordings. Like, I think that's the coolest thing. So, the main thing I do is anything around paranormal, but mediumship is my area.
Yep. And I got to tell everybody who's watching, I have seen you do gallery readings. You and Aaron Eck did gallery readings, and you guys were amazing, both of you. And then I personally have had a reading from you, has my daughter-in-law and my 14-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So, and you've been dead on. And honestly, it was because of you that I realized that I actually had my first Bigfoot encounter.
Really?
You're the one who told me it was a Bigfoot.
Oh, that's right.
Out there at the ranch.
Together. It blurs together. Like, so we're kind of like in a daydream state. I forgot about that. Yeah. Seeing them over in the corner.
Yeah. So it was pretty incredible. So, I know several psychic mediums, and I'm not saying that they're all, but you're one I hold up pretty high because you're been dead on for me and everything I've seen you do with others. So yeah, you're very good at that. You, and I got to say, Michael Christopher's pretty good too. He comes on.
I was going to say, that man made me cry.
Readings with us too. He's good.
Yeah, that man made me cry right in the middle of a live stream. So yeah, I hold him pretty high too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I love Michael.
Yeah.
But what I love about you, Jessica, is that I'll just say my last memory with you is we had gone to Ray County Museum and we had investigated all night, and then we went back to the hotel, and here it is, the wee early hours of the morning, and I'm packing my car, and here she comes out with her recorder, and she goes, "Listen to this," and she's like, "Listen."
Yeah, like sometimes when you do these things, like your sleep schedule gets so whack. Like, especially at home, I'm a mom getting up early in the morning. So when I travel, my body's like, we don't know when to be awake. So like, Yeah.
This girl,
We were going
I
to talk
swear.
about the statue moving at the museum because that was so cool. I mean, that was a big, like 100-foot wood carving thing.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, it's when I was a crackhead early in the morning, like, hey, listen to ZVP. Then it's gonna get
It's
robbed.
like an ambush, I'm not even awake yet. I'm just dragging my stuff back out to the car because I got a long drive home, And she's like, listen. I'm like, okay.
That's me. That's what you get being friends with me.
Yeah, that's true. And it doesn't have to be an EVP. It'll be like, did you see this text message? 3:00 in the morning. I haven't slept, Jess. I haven't slept.
You're the same way. Don't even play that. You're the same exact way.
I know.
Well, see, I think that's good. I mean, Kristen, wouldn't you agree that the energy that these two ladies bring to a location helps so much when it comes to activity?
During Ghost Hunt, like when it dies out, we have done this. Where were we? Randolph County. We're like, the laser grids were going and like the fog machines, and we're filling this hallway, and it was just like dead quiet. And I was like, I can feel them around. And she's like, we should do a dance party. We totally did a dance party, and then the energy like popped off, and it was all back in. And we're like, thank you. And then we got into communicating.
That's awesome.
So great.
You know what? Maybe we'll have to do that at Ashmore.
Yeah, we even like made our own music. It was so bad and so good at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the ghosts were like, now we're deaf and we can't answer your questions.
Yeah.
I'll just have to remember to bring my speaker. We'll Bluetooth some music in. We'll have a dance party up there on the 3rd floor.
I think that would be amazing.
And at Ashmore, I've had them hide out. I've heard on a ghost hunt where one said, like, have they left yet? And they were being quiet. And so, like, when the group moved on hallways, I stayed. And then all of a sudden it was like, you hear footsteps, everything. It's like, they like to play games there. They like to hide out.
There's also nonverbal ones there that I think that are, in our time, we would say autistic or neurodivergent, but back then obviously they wouldn't have known. So to have a difficulty to communicate with people, they just ended up going mute because they were so overstimulated by so many different things.
People, like,
yes. So I know I had the most interesting communication with a spirit that wasn't actually talking. It was more through feeling. And there was another girl, I think it was on the 3rd floor. And I was like, I know you're here. I can feel you. And I understand that you're feeling overwhelmed by all of the presence and the people that are here. And I'll just stand here and I'll be here with you. You don't have to say anything. But if you want to communicate, reach out and touch me. And it felt like a hand touching my arm. And then the lady next to me, like, I didn't say anything. The lady next to me went, he just touched you. And I was like, yes, he did. It was amazing. And like chills, like just went, and it was that little bathroom. There was like chills just up my back. It was amazing.
I had that at Penhurst, the same exact thing. It was a nonverbal. And I felt a scratch on my arm, and that's what caught my attention. And so like we were watching it like form, you could see, because my skin's sensitive, you could see like any little thing. But it started coming up. And then when I tapped in, I was hearing like, like that. So they were grabbing my arm to communicate. And so people were like, oh, it might be something dark. And I was like, it's not, And so I sat there and listened to them, using my mediumship. But yeah, that's really cool.
Is really heavy, man.
Yeah, no kidding. I wasn't prepared. And then I would hear so loud, like screaming. And I look around and go, you guys hear that? That's insane. And nobody else was hearing it. But I was like, okay, just me.
Yeah. I never talked to you about Penhurst before, Jess. And I was always hearing screaming there. And it was
like all over the place.
All over. Like, and it sounded like a lot of children screaming too, like mostly children. And I would look around because, when you're a mom and you hear children screaming, you're like, where's the kids? What's happening? And it was like, I heard mommy, I heard, my name, and then like just the screaming all the time. And I never talked to you. I can't believe we never talked about that before.
Remember at Ashmore when I got there early and I was setting up in the daytime, and I thought you pranked me because I heard I knew it was a woman's voice. And it was only me, Robin was there, and one other guy. but I heard a woman's voice and somebody run past both doors of the operating room where I was setting up.
Yes.
Yeah, that place is crazy. In the daytime too. It's very active in the daytime.
You were like, stop pranking me. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I was like, oh, she's good. Like, she got fast. And I'm trying to go down the 3 stairs. And then Robin's like, nobody else has come here, Jessica. And I was like, no, I know. I was like, y'all are messing with me.
Yeah.
Hi.
You know, I had actually at Ashmore, it was during the day when I had a plaster off the wall was thrown at me, and it was broad daylight.
Wow.
It was up on the 3rd floor, you know, where the big room is. And then
that operating room, which normally I hate the operating rooms, but like that one, I was like, I'm just going to push out whatever happened in here, and because I'll get sick if I'm in them too long. So, but it had sunlight. So I was like, I got to have sunlight in here.
So Rachel, how did you get into all this weirdness?
Oh, that's a long story.
I've been in it for a while.
I mean, I was kind of born into it, but I didn't really talk about it much because of my upbringing was extremely religious. So it was, you know, don't talk about it.
Understand that. Yep.
Don't, you know, people think that's weird, and you're not supposed to communicate with spirits, or you're not supposed to see them or anything like that. But I was born dead. I was dead for 5 minutes. They didn't think I was going to come back. And kind of since I was a very, very small girl, 3 to 5 years old, I started seeing things. And I remember stuff going back that far. And I always felt safe. So it never really scared me. So when I would talk to people about it, they're like, oh my God, I don't believe that, or that's terrifying. Doesn't it scare you? And I'm like, well, when you've seen it and you felt safe around it, you know, most of your life, it's weird when you have an encounter with a spirit or whatever it is. That's not good.
Right.
So it was really hard for me when I actually did get into the paranormal, and I was like, oh, these people think there's demons and they're all angry and they throw stuff. I mean, yeah, that happens on occasion, but it's not every time a door opens. There's, you know, some paranormal horror movie.
99% of the time, it's not.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, you'll get an interdimensional being every once in a while, but, you know, not every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a question here. Brother Heck asked if certain people cannot be read due to protections that they have.
I would say no. I've had religious people tell me that they put up protection and had blessings done and all that, but there's more reserved energy I can feel. Same as the skeptic. Honestly, the skeptics feel the same way to me. It's like their energy is a little bit more pulled back. The connections are stronger, but you got to think about, you have your loved ones on the other side. They're willing to talk. You have, you know, energy around that just is out there in our fields. But now there's certain things they'll protect if you don't want certain things brought up. But that's my opinions on it, or my experience with it.
Yeah. Good deal. Okay.
I feel like it's harder to read real, like, I don't know how to explain this, real genuine psychic mediums. If you're having like a real authentic talk with somebody who is also really high level, sometimes it's hard to read them because they know that people are trying to read them.
That makes sense.
And they have almost an innate way of blocking that reading.
I'm bad about that though.
Yes, you are.
I've had mediums tell me that they're like, you need to block more. There's times where I've been teaching workshops or like doing a speech, and I can feel people tapping in me. I'll be like, I could just feel my energy drop like huge bits. And then I was like, what's going on? And then I've had people tell me, yeah, I was reading you while you're up there. And I'm like, there we go. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm bad about it too. So we both got to work on that.
We got natural protection, just like what you talked about growing up and feeling safe. That's how I've always felt.
Mm-hmm. And I think like Jess and I have had a very similar like life and history. And I think that's why when we first met, we were like, I'm in love. Like, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just like,
you've been like, seriously, I've only had a few best friends in my life, and Jess is one of them for sure.
Awesome.
thank you.
Just
I
to let
paid
everybody know,
her to say that.
I just want to let everybody know in chat real quick. We will answer questions at the end. I am seeing questions and I'm starring them. So towards the end, we'll get questions answered. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay, something that you had brought up is about hearing things, and you're the only one hearing them when you're standing in a room full of people, that you're hearing them. Now, Kristen knows what you mean, and I know what you mean, that you got to distinguish between, am I hearing it with my ears or am I hearing it in my head?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times that I'll hear things in my head and I'm like, of course nobody's going to hear that. But how do you determine which is which? How do you know?
Oh yeah, that's hard. Sometimes there's like a vibration to it for me. I notice a little bit of a vibration difference, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most of the time when I hear something like that, I feel like I hear it both in my head and in real time. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain, I guess.
Yeah.
But there have been times when I've dead ass turned around and I looked at somebody, I'm like, did you hear that? And they were like, oh my God, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was hearing something, and you're the only two people in the building.
Yeah.
There was something interesting actually at Ashmore. Robin, Terry, and I were on the first floor, and we were sitting on like one of the benches right next to the staircase in the front. And we were having a conversation about, I don't know, building something or cars. It had nothing to do with the paranormal. And, you know, we're just having this long conversation, and it sounded like a ton of people running on the second floor down the stairs. Like it was just like above our heads and down the stairs. And Robin looked at me and he goes, did you hear that? And I was like, yeah, I heard that. He goes, look, I don't believe in this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, I've got to see what's going on upstairs. And then he said, if nobody's up there, I'm going to run down the hall. And I want you to tell me if you can hear me running down the hall. And I'm like, for one, I don't see Robin ever running like anywhere. Okay. I've seen Robin run once after a guy who broke into a building, and I thought he was going to kill that kid. So for me to picture Robin running upstairs just to like prove a point, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But like, go for it.
Right. He went up the stairs and he came back down like 20 minutes later, and he goes, did you hear anything? I was like, no.
Yeah.
He said, weird. I mean, the only way I could describe it was it sounded like a herd of elephants running upstairs and then down those front stairs. And the light went on and everything. And
that's wild.
I mean, it was amazing. That's the kind of stuff I love about Ashmore, because you don't know what you're going to get. It's, you know, little girls or women or even like extraterrestrial stuff. Like I've had weird like rhythmic sound tones coming through. Amazing.
Can you talk about that?
I mean, there was I think it was one night I was sitting with like a box. I can't remember what box it was. And it was a radio signal. It was coming through, and it ended up being like the same rhythmic tone. It was like beep 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 beep.
Oh, a spirit box.
Yes, and it was.
It's going to pick up on alien frequency stuff.
Yes,
and it changed. Like you'll know, it sounds like digital. That's the best way I can describe it. It sounds digital.
Yeah, and it was so weird. And then like I would mess with it and it would start doing it again. And I had my phone camera on and it started like zooming in and zooming out and get really blurry when like the rhythmic tones were happening.
That's trippy.
Oh man. And I was sitting in, it was,
I would think I was drugged. I'd be like, who drugged me?
Right. That was the night you did the God helmet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting in the cafeteria lunchroom area by myself, and the lights were all off, and I was just like trying to get anything in there because I heard that one thing and I was like, I'm gonna sneak away and not tell anybody where I'm at and just kind of hide. And I'm small, so
That's kind of how we bonded. Because at these events, we would sneak away or hang back behind and be like,
Right? Like, don't tell anybody.
We're alone.
Yes. That's when we got some of the best stuff, though.
I popped up all the fog. I'm like, hey, want to be friends?
And you know, the thing about Ashmore too is like, it's nothing like, I've taken my 14-year-old daughter there, you know, so it's nothing like you can't, there's nothing demonic, put it that way, or anything like that there, you know.
Demonic. I was told there was, but I just got a lot of overwhelming spirits. Like I ran during the day, because I was going to be doing readings. I remember a woman kept screaming in my head, and I was like, stop. Most of the time I can block it out and say stop or like tune it down. I can't fully block it out, but I can tune it down. But she was just like, ah! And I was like, okay, I need to get away and go eat and like ground. And like, I had to tell Robin, I was like, hey, I'm going to run out and like get food, something to eat real quick, because like, it was like nuts. But yeah, I haven't encountered anything demonic there. Just a lot happened there. A lot went down. This was
I never
even you know, when I had my daughter there, you know, Robin now, you know, he has the fire pit and stuff outside. So a lot of us adults were sitting around the fire pit talking, and my daughter and her friend, they had the whole Ashmore Estates to themselves. They were inside investigating, you know, and I felt comfortable letting them do that there. So that's what I've told everybody. Ashmore is not a place that you really have to, you know, I mean, of course, there's always the risk anywhere you go and you investigate, you know, if we're taking something home or whatever. But Ashmore's always been, for me, safe, you know.
Yeah. I think it's so cool that Robin knows so much of the history and holds on to it. But that always excites me as a medium. So like my first time there, I landed at the airport, rented a car, and drove up, and I was like, okay, I'm here a little bit early, but I'll just go ahead and start set up. And I remember like when I came in, I was like on the property, I was like, there's a body that was buried on this property. So like Robin asked like what I got, and I told him, and he took me to like the old map, like blueprint. And I pointed out like the area it was at. And just recently, Jack Osborne went out there and Michelle Bellinger. Yeah. And they brought a cadaver dog out. And I'm like, that is so cool. And I was like watching it like, oh my God, that's where it said the tree.
The tree.
Yeah. There's so much history that happened there that like just still isn't known, but like Robin has held on to so much. And I love that.
Yeah. We'll have to definitely go out and investigate around the tree, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's spirits all over that place. Being outside too. I mean, even staying in the bunkhouses, like you just hear stuff, and there's movements and there's shadows, and I love that.
Yep, absolutely. And then you know our friend Terry Mosby, as you guys know her, she's coming, and we thought we're hoping that the skies will be clear because she also does a lot of the UFO stuff. You know, so we're hoping maybe if any of the attendees want to go out and do some of that, watching the skies with her. You know,
well, matter of fact, Terry just jumped into chat. I just saw her. So hi, Terry.
Hi,
Terry. We already talked about you one time already.
Yeah.
We'll just keep talking about you now.
Yeah. I literally just sent her a message and asked her if she wanted to hop on with us. And she said she just got out of the shower.
So she's extra fresh now.
I'm like, no, but thanks. Thanks, no.
Our views, you know, like up our views.
Yeah.
Jump our view, show a little leg. Hey, no problem.
Just the ankle, okay? Just the
ankle. One for the team.
There you go.
Take one for the team.
Yeah. What each of you guys, what has been the scariest place that you guys have ever?
Oh God.
I know everybody asks this question, but you know, it's interesting because I want to know.
I know Rachel's, and I have not gone there yet because there's certain ones I know I got to be like in the right headspace. But yeah, you have me like prepared for this one place, and I keep getting invited to it. But now I'm actually going to go. Like, but
what?
Yeah.
You're going to go there?
Yeah, go for it. I'm pretty sure I know your story. The one near me, it's near me. You used to come here.
I know. I know. I know. Okay, Jess, you have to go first. You have to go first.
Scariest?
Yes.
I think most of it doesn't scare me. I think it's so cool, but you know, there's always that rush with it.
right?
I think the biggest thing that I can think, the only time I ran, I would say that, which I pushed back. So I was in an old wheelchair. We had a laser grid set up. This was an event me and Rachel worked, actually. We had a laser grid set up, like facing into, we were in the rec room, and there was 4 of us left, like, because we closed out the event for night. So paranormal crew and me were left. So the laser grid's facing us, and we could hear like walking back and forth behind the laser grid. And I said, just go ahead and come on in this room. And it stepped over the laser grid and took off with speed. But it was so detailed, you could see the bottom of a skirt and like the shoes. So it looked like a staff member, like what a nurse would wear. But it went so fast, it went through my legs, and I like rolled the wheelchair back to get out of the way. But I mean, we all scattered like cockroaches. It was that solid.
Oh, wow.
And then being like the laser lights being gone there, it was,
Mhm.
I have yet to see that again with laser lights. I'm like, I'm dying to have that experience again, because it was really cool. Now that it's done, but at the time, like we all about crapped our pants, because just to have them respond like that, you know how you'll ask them to do something, but normally they don't respond, and we're like, oh crap, they actually listened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always like that intense moment when something actually does happen. You're like, oh shit. Oh my
No.
God.
Yeah, that was me at the Conjuring house. The same thing happened. You know, it's just like when you
Oh.
think that, you know, nothing's going to happen, and then it does, and it scares,
Yeah.
it gives you a little jump scare. Yeah, I got you there.
What happened to her, I've not had happen what happened to Rachel. So like, if I
Now,
were
where were you, Jessica, when this happened?
Randolph County Infirmary, Indiana.
That's
Indiana.
a great place. I've been there. That's
Yeah.
a great
I
place.
love it. I love it.
I remember that event.
Yeah.
I got punched in the throat by like a ghost orderly or something when we were outside. Do you remember that, Jess?
No.
I was
Wow.
standing right next to you, and it was like I was standing out there, and I was like I was being obnoxious or something. It was like an orderly came out.
Oh,
and, like, punched me right
okay.
in
It
the
was
throat.
really late in the night.
Yes.
After you did the experiment with the gun, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I just went like, you got raspy and you kept like grabbing your throat, and I thought you just had a bug in your throat.
No. It was like, what is happening?
No, wait.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God. That's
Yeah.
that's not the scariest thing to happen. But so this story is like super intense. Like it again, when you grow up seeing things and being around things, like you don't think that you're gonna be scared of something. And like you don't really I wasn't prepared for this, okay? I was not prepared. The place was St. Albans in Radford, Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And that place,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, every time I've gone there has been intense. I mean, just thinking about it, and when I tell the story, like people stop talking and they're like, I don't know if I want to go there. So,
But then there's people I know that go there just because they get so much physical touching
Yes.
and feeling being hit. And I'm like, okay, you have fun with that.
I know it's really, really messed up, but you know, I was actually terrified to go back there for 2 years
Yeah.
because
Wow.
of what happened. So, they have these like real isolation cells in one of like the subfloors, because if you know anything about St. Albans, there's just so many different layers of St. Albans, and they kept adding on because it was a school and then they turned it into a hospital. And so like every time they added stuff on, there's like all these layers, there's a basement, there's like these tunnels, like you could get lost there during the day if you had a map. I mean, it's crazy. But you go down into this one area and it's all like real isolation chambers with like the metal doors and everything. And like that whole area gave me the creeps.
Mhm.
We were doing an investigation there, and I was sitting on the floor, and I had one person on one side of me and another person on the other side of me, and I kept having this connection to what I felt was a woman that like I kept seeing her face. Like she had her head shaved, she had like this gash on the side of her head, she was
Wow.
like in a one of those straight jackets, and she was just angry. She was so angry. she was giving off masculine man angry energy. So everybody's like, oh no, it's a guy in here. I'm like, no, it's a female. I can feel it, you know. And we were like maybe 10 minutes away from ending our session. And I was like, I know you haven't said anything, but you last chance, you know. I know you're a lady. I would love for you to communicate with us. And I was going to get up at the very end. I'm like, I'm leaving now. And I felt something jump on my shoulders. So much so, like, I couldn't get up. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, somebody's on me. I got to get up. And like the two people next to me were trying to pull me up. And one of these guys, he was a muscular guy. And he could not, for the life of him, pick me up at all. I was like stuck on the ground. He's like, it feels like somebody is on top of you. And I'm like, because there's somebody on top of me, man. And it felt like 10 minutes. I know it probably wasn't, but it felt like 10 minutes. I was like, you have to get off of me. You're not allowed to be on me. You have to get off me. And finally, like, something broke and whatever it was got off of me. And like, they were still trying to pull me up. So when she finally got off me, like, I kind of flew up and they were like, oh my God, what's going on? And this other lady in the room was like, your energy is off the scale. Like, it's red. Like, and I started having like a massive panic attack. I was freaking out. Like, I couldn't breathe. And then this insane fear just settled over my body.
I hate that feeling. I hate when they have you feel that.
And I've never felt that with spirits before. So I was like, what is happening? I went into the bathroom. I started having severe panic attacks. And I had not had a panic attack in maybe 10 years.
Wow.
So for me to be like, I'm having a great time, I'm communicating with spirits too. I don't like this anymore. I don't want to be here.
This ride.
This is not great. I didn't love it. So like the rest of the night, like I was shook. I had a hard time doing anything. And people were like, we're getting stuff through recordings asking about you. Like, you're going to be stuck in like these weird things, like, where's Rachel?
Yeah.
Just weird stuff through the night. And packed up my stuff, went home thinking everything was done. Like the next night, I could not sleep.
Wow.
I was like frozen in bed. And there was this thing standing at the foot of my bed that looked like this skeleton creature with like a bunch of arms. It was almost like a centipede looking body, but all the legs were actually like arms. So like if you think of the center of it is the spine, and then all the arms are coming off, and like it gets this top face. The face is all white and it's got like these black looking gray lips. And it's impossible to forget this face. It like the head was tilted and it had this smile, like no teeth, like it just like teethless smile. And then the eyes were completely white except for there were black spots. And it freaked me out. Obviously, that was like the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I couldn't sleep, obviously, and I couldn't move. It was like I was just stuck in bed.
It was like sleep paralysis?
Yes, it was sleep paralysis, and I had that for 3 days. So for 3 days straight, after I got back, this happened. This thing stood at the end of my bed and just stared at me. And I was so afraid of it because I'd never seen anything like that. And the third day, like, you know, it's still smiling at me. I realized it was feeding off my fear.
Yep.
It felt that fear when I was at St. Albans.
Well, they send you the first little wave of fear, and then it's like, that's how I'll know if it's a darker one, because it comes in waves, and then it's like the next wave is stronger, and it's like, I'm feeling like I'm about to panic.
Yes.
I cut it off.
So by the third night, I was like, okay, this thing is clearly feeding off of my fear. I've got to tell it I'm not afraid of it, and it has to go back where it came from. So I had to like really like bring myself back down from what was going on. And I don't know if I actually said it or if it was in my head, or what? And I said, you are not allowed to be here. You have to go. You don't belong here, or go back to wherever you came from, because you're no longer allowed to be here, and I'm not afraid of you. And the whole time it had its head cocked to the side, smiling at me. It straightened its head, it stopped smiling, and it slithered away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I didn't tell anybody about this. A friend of mine who also happened to be at St. Albans a couple times called me, and she goes, there's this creature that followed me home from St. Albans, and described it to me.
Wow.
And it was exactly what was in the bedroom. Okay. And I told her about this, and she goes, yeah, so something happened, and there was an open black mirror in the basement, and I think that's what came through. And I said, of course that's what came through, because
right,
that's not normal.
No.
No.
So after that, I was terrified to go back, because I knew that thing was there.
Right. And it attacked you once, so therefore you're a target again.
Exactly.
Well, I've heard lots of people being followed. Like my friend Sheena owns the inn near me. She had, like, they were driving in the car, and the car doors kept locking and unlocking and locking and unlocking. And she said they went over a bridge towards their hotel, and the lights were changing on the bridge. Like, as they would drive under, it would turn off. And then when they got to their hotel room, and she'd taken her granddaughter there for her first investigation, there was 4 of them in the hotel room, and all night long there was walking in their room and something moving around them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have any desire to go there.
Yeah, I know. I have a friend that wants to go there right now, and I'm like, see,
Yeah.
set up, like, yeah, I got to be in a good mental headspace. Like, you got going strong, but I mean, I guess I got plenty of attitude.
Well, I mean,
and then there's like sadness. Like, you know how we connected buildings before? I can feel like so much sadness upstairs and depression, and like just feeling trapped. And then it's like, yeah, down the basement. It's like I don't think I'm gonna care to be down there very long. I feel like I'll get sick.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard. And then I went back because there was some filming being done, and just walking through, got cuts on our legs. Wow. And it was about the height of how far the thing was down when it was slithering away.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like the perfect height. I was freaked out about that. I mean, and like the place where our legs were cut, like completely, like, you know, normally when you get cut like really bad, it bleeds for a little bit. Like, it didn't even do that. It just cauterized immediately.
That's weird.
It was
That's
really,
weird.
It was really weird on both sides. Like, it wasn't just one side. It was like both sides, the same exact height, and like pretty much cauterized immediately. And it was weird. Wow. So I was like, nope, not happening again.
Yeah.
No.
Not today, Satan.
Not today.
That's scary. That I gotta say, that's, and for you to go back.
She told me that, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, every time. Like, and I just told one of my friends that runs a paranormal team, I've never been there. He's like, you've never been there? Because we're both like local. He was like, I'm going to take you there. And I was like,
That's why I was like, you're going to go there? Are you
sure? Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
I don't.
I'm going to go get your buddy and bring him to you, like in Ashmore.
No,
like, I'm out. Yeah.
So tell us about our buddy in Ashmore.
Our buddy.
You said bring your buddy.
No,
I
bring that guy.
Like, I'm gonna go get him on my way to Ashmore.
Oh, gotcha.
No. You just leave that thing right where it's at.
No, yeah.
He's gonna like you way too much. No.
Yeah, I don't think Robin wants him there either.
Nobody wants him there.
I'm gonna be like, I heard Rachel has a crush on you. She liked your slithery legs.
I'm sorry. I'm just not into that kind of like.
No,
you're not? Nah. Too many arms. It's gonna be way too handsy.
Just too many arms. Something about slithering, you know, it doesn't, no.
Right?
Yeah, it just seems slimy. I'm good. I don't
Like
need that
climb the
much.
walls. Like you got to walk him like a dog, just let him run laps.
Right.
Then climbing the ceiling.
I'm now picturing it on a leash, and that's funny.
We're so ADD. Yeah.
Thank you, Jess,
So,
for
okay,
making
so-
my nightmare so funny.
We're gonna have so much fun.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
This will be good. I'm bringing
Exactly.
Michael.
So you're talking about the most frightening experience you've ever had, and here she is talking about stopping by to get it. Who's
You
gonna
know,
bring it to you?
honestly, she is one of my best friends, so makes sense.
Yeah. 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 I'm gonna get the smallest little jar too.
That's awesome. That's
You're
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
So there is a few. There
But
are.
I mean, Jessica, do you think this is like going to that place, and actually, Rachel, you going back to that place? Is that kind of like a facing your fear moment?
I think the first time going back was, and then I've had a lot of people call me and text me since then and say, like, send me recordings of things that
New phone, who this?
I'm like, no.
I'm
I'm like, I'm good.
No.
Good. I mean, I think I would go back if I was more prepared, honestly.
Yeah. Me, it's not so much, I guess, like facing a fear. It's just like I know the damage it can do bringing something home. So when I know there's a real threat of that, especially when it tends to go, like everyone that I know had really intense experiences there is sensitive in one way or another, whether they talk and they're open about their mediumship. So it's like certain places, there's a lot more of a target on us. And that's what I worry about is, I don't want to deal with anything following me back to the house again. Like,
And I really
that's
feel like
mentally.
I felt like that's why I told you I would hate for you to go there, only because you're so sensitive to, like, especially certain things, and that specific energy attracts to your kind of energy. And that was the one thing I was always concerned about, because I know what I went through, and I feel like you're way more gifted than I am. So
Well, and this is not the year, like when you've had a year of like crazy stuff happening, and like that's where I really hate messing with certain things, because they're more drawn to you because you've had a bunch of chaos going on in your life.
Yeah. All those open wounds spiritually.
Yeah.
It's easier to and
Yep. You guys have a few questions here. William Bays says, are people who have had NDEs more prone to be psychic? I have had 2 NDEs. Near-death experiences.
I'd say yes. I've known people that were skeptical before their NDE, and now they're full-on mediums. Like to the point they came back, just tapped in and said, this is what I'm going to do now. So in my experience, I've had a few myself, but I've had my abilities as far back as I can remember. So mine, I don't really think count.
Right.
I have to agree. I think that if you have something so near to death that you kind of leave a little bit of yourself on that side, or just keep one foot in the door, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like it's cracked. That's really. So like it's cracked and all.
Door's cracked a little bit, so you're letting.
I would believe that. I would definitely say that you're not going to bring everything back. With you.
Yep, absolutely. Audacious Amber asks, is it hard to read people who have nervous energy without confusing and nervousness for who they really are?
No, because I have anxiety. Every sensitive has anxiety. I have anxiety, so it's like, no, you're kind of able to overcome that and be like, okay, like, I get that energy. That's a living person thing.
Right.
I feel like I have to differentiate between my nervousness and their nervousness. I'm like, is that my anxiety or theirs? Like, who's more nervous?
Yeah, with phone readings, there'd be times where I'm like, man, why am I getting nervous? I ain't got nervous and like this nervous and wow. And then I get on the phone and they're scared to speak up and like, are you gonna tell me when I'm gonna die? And it's like, no, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's where it's coming from.
That's where it is. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. There's a, Paranormal Paul asks, Rachel, how can you tell the difference between male and female spirits?
I don't think that it's, sometimes I get masculine energy, sometimes I get female energy, but there's something underlying about the female spirit to me that is, I don't know, it feels different. I don't really know how to explain it. It's a softer energy to me, even if the person or the spirit or whatever, even if they've been extremely damaged and we're more like a masculine kind of person in their life, there's still a softness to their energy for me.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, almost like if you feel like the anger and the things that make them feel masculine, you can understand it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the subject matter too, I feel, if something comes up and it's like indifference for a spirit and it was more of like a feminine type subject, then that would also make sense. So it's a little bit of psychology too, along with the mediumship. You kind of weed through and then come up with what you would think is a logical answer for what you're picking up.
Yeah. And it's been a long time ago. It was 12 years ago. I actually took Sarah Lamos's first class that she ever offered.
Oh,
Very
wow.
first class, many, many years ago. And I remember her telling me, if you think about it, it's your thoughts. If it just comes to you, don't think about it. It's not your thoughts. And that's always stuck with me. So same thing, I guess what I'm getting at, telling male or female, it's the first thing that comes to you. If you think about it, then, it's your thoughts.
And the more you think about it, like if you sit there and go back and forth, that's more you interrupting and getting mixed in. Yeah, you got to trust what you initially get.
Yeah. There's been so many times where, in an investigation and you're like, oh man, maybe I'm picking this up, and somebody blurts something out, and then all of a sudden the energy changes because they've put out that energy for something to be something very specific, and then now the energy's different.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like they took what possibilities were open and they put it in a box, and now it's like, man, this is what we have to work with.
Right.
Sometimes that happens, not all the time, but I have felt the difference in, like, you're almost somewhere with the communication, and then everything changed.
Right.
Because they still have attitudes too. I've seen that, like, oh man, there's like, because how we pick up on them. There's so many investigations I've been a part of where they're like, well, they just shut up. Like we're trying to get through, because there's certain ones that have to like really work to build up their energy to get through and communicate. So they'll start getting annoyed. So like if the person starts antagonizing them, they'll be like, no, I'm out, you know, and walk away. But that part's hard as a medium because it makes us want to jump and be like, well, you just shut up. But it's like, you gotta be like,
feeling that. You don't want to put out that energy either.
I do have a weird question though, because I have a big problem with Walmart. Yeah. Because when I go into Walmart, I hear people talking and being loud, and there may not be that many people in there. Mm-hmm. So, what type of place do you walk in where you just have a hard time tuning all of that out? Walmart. Mine's like Walmart or big department stores.
I don't go to the Walmart here because we're like just out the DC, and our town is just as populated as DC, and I hate the Walmart here. It is like, it's so overstimulating. I've always hated Walmart and like had to go park there, and then I'd sit in my car stalling for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, but the one here, it's like, I've never been able to stand it. I have to do Target, and even that, it's like, get in. I order online a lot most of the time.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And if I absolutely have to go to the store and I'm going by myself, I put in headphones.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way. And I've noticed I can actually go into Walmart if I have headphones in, and I'm not as bothered. It's really interesting.
Yeah. I never even thought about that.
Yes.
Never thought about it.
I put on my soothing music, which is metal. Mm-hmm. So I'm so soothed going into Walmart. I'm feeling good. Nobody can mess with me, you know.
Somebody comes up to ask if you need help and you just start punching them.
I'm like, man, listen,
Don't
I've had it up
scare me
to
like
here.
that. Where are you coming?
No, the more tattoos I get, like I either people stay away from me or they'll grab my arm and they're like, is this a shirt? And I'm like, listen, you almost got punched. Don't grab me.
That's my space. You're in
when I
it.
was pregnant, I never had anybody try to touch my belly. So I was like, hey, like, and probably because I felt like crap all the time. I'm sure I had my resting bitch face. But yeah, like nobody ever tried to touch my belly. But all my friends were like, I hate how strangers do it. And I'm like, you're too nice looking.
Yep.
Man, people are crazy. They think they can do what they want. You're just out in public, minding your own business. They're like, hey, and they just do something outrageous. And you're like, ooh, the audacity here.
Right?
What is this?
Right. One more
Yeah,
question.
'cause I imagine there are times for both of you, like you're trying to get something done or do something, and then you just these little voices keep popping in your head, and you're like, go away, stop it.
Yep.
And they're so persistent. What do you do in that type of situation when you get a spirit like that is too persistent?
I immediately change my thought patterns, and I've learned that will help. So I'll be like, okay, focus on my shopping list, or like, we got to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Or sometimes I'll think of a song and start singing it in my head and trying to make myself focus on the lyrics. And then it kind of like doles them out. So that's one way I've learned to deal with it. The best way, I guess.
I guess for me, it depends on the situation. Like at night, I'm like, listen, if I don't get my sleep, you know I'm going to be irritated. And then I definitely don't want to hear it. Okay. So like you got to shut it down because we're done. But like
I
during
see
the
that
day,
creature with his little arm, like get your light for you.
so yeah, they know now. They don't bother me as much at night now because I'm like, no. Yeah.
I put a salt lamp on my nightstand and that helped. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
But like during the day, I just listen to music. It
Same.
helps.
Yeah.
Music definitely helps.
Yeah. If I'm somewhere I can't listen to music, I thought she meant like when you're running errands, but yeah, all the time. Like I break away when I'm too overwhelmed, or like they won't stop when I'm in my office. Then I break away and go drive and listen to music, and then I feel like myself again.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Definitely.
Anita Whitson asked, what do you do to cleanse, so to speak, before and after like investigations?
On the way in, I tend to like ground a little bit. Like I'll do a quick grounding meditation because I normally start taking notes against stuff before. And then afterwards, depending on how tense it was, I always sage afterwards and sage the bottom of my feet. And I take that as like anywhere I stepped, I'm taking that energy, pulling it down and off of me. And if it's real intense, then I'll go to the bathroom and wash my hands with water. Like I'm washing it all away.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my ritual.
Yeah. For me, before I go in, I kind of meditate and like let go of all like the anger, or if I've had any anger in the day or any stress, because any kind of negativity will bring negativity to you when you're an investigator.
Yep.
So to let go of that and just to go in with like a clear mind, an open mind, for me is like a full body cleanse. You're going in fresh with like a new thought process and all of that. So you're going to have less of a negative experience and hopefully more of a positive and open experience. Afterwards, depending on the situation, some like sage mist after. I love that. Or if it's like really intense, definitely like a salt bar in the shower.
Or the water. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the water.
Showers. And then just like have that energy of like, I'm releasing all the negative energy and letting it go down the drain, kind of thing. So that's the most positive thing.
I always tell people, Brandy and I do on our shows, like it's all about like intent too. So, like also, if you believe in God or whatever you believe in, if you mean the words you say, it works as well. Like prayer and things like that too.
Yes.
So Yeah.
To a degree,
Yeah.
we form our own reality. So absolutely, just like what Rachel said, like that's a really, really good point. It's like you got to release what you're going through and have a good spirit, not draw more of that in.
Yes,
Right.
because like you're not just going to affect yourself; you're going to affect everybody in your investigation. So I mean, you're going to make everybody else's time suck if you go in there negative and draining the energy.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And Rachel, I believe I'm like you, Rachel. I'm a water baby, so the water is what I have to have.
Yes.
If I can just go stick my feet in a tub, will actually help me.
Yes.
I mean, of course, I would rather get in like a full bathtub or a shower, or even what works best for me is stick my feet in a lake, the ocean, a river or something.
A creek or something. Yes.
Yeah, something more natural. That works better for me. But
I agree because I'm
definitely
an earth,
water baby.
So yes, I like the cleansing of the water because I'm an earth. So it's nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
it calms me.
Let's switch topics. And I named this show Mermaids and Monsters and More with you guys.
Yeah.
And so let's go down some different dark, weird rabbit holes and get your guys' takes on them, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
We talk about all things weird here. So what are your guys, people in chat? I've seen a few people mention fairies and the
Fairies?
forest. Yeah, fairies. What are your guys' takes on fairies?
I am all about like Celtic lore and fairies. Actually, when I do readings and stuff, I actually connect to fairy spirits and more Celtic, like druid type feelings. So when I go to do like an oracle reading or a tarot reading, more of the energy I get is from fairy or fae based energies. So yes, I'm all for it.
Awesome.
I've had encounters with dwarves when I lived in, or like the elves when I lived in Iceland. I remember that, like how you were talking, you remember stuff like back to being 3 years old. Like I told my parents about it and remembering the layout of restaurants up in Iceland, and they're like, there's no way. And I told them and they were like, losing their mind. But I remember my friends that were there that were elves when I was a kid. And occasionally I'll feel them come around, but I've never like physically seen them again. But here in Virginia, when I first moved here from North Carolina to Virginia, I thought my meditations were broken because I was getting so many elementals and fae energy. And I'm like, where's the dead people? Like, I mean, they were around too, but it was like a lot of that energy is here. It's really strong.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Brandy and I, I've had 2 Bigfoot encounters now. Brandy and I had a Bigfoot encounter back in September, and she actually saw it. And so we were on the deal, like we believed that they were some sort of flesh and blood creature. However, since then, a lot have changed with us because we've been to like Land Between the Lakes there in Kentucky, and we've seen a lot of weird stuff that just isn't flesh and blood related. We've seen these random orbs out in the middle of the woods, like
wow,
and see eye shine at the same time. So what is this? So we've kind of changed that these creatures are more like on a. I think that some of them can be flesh and blood, but they can also be kind of like interdimensional.
Yeah. We were I was just talking about this with my friend, because he's in Bigfoot. And yeah, I think that they have to be interdimensional, but they can take a very physical form. It has to be something like that. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to get your guys' opinions. And we're also believers. We've interviewed a lot of people who have had dogman encounters. And a lot of these people, they're lucky to be alive. And I believe they're more on the flesh and blood type realm. However, I do believe that they can, there's different things that they can do to people that's not just flesh and blood, if that makes sense. So what do you guys think about creatures like that? What do you think they are?
I don't know much on that.
I don't know either.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say that there's no such thing because we believe in ghosts and like all kinds of other things. So
exactly,
like, I don't understand the community of like we believe in ghosts, but we don't believe in this.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. Like,
Mhm.
you gotta
Right.
kind of
Right.
believe in a
Right.
little bit of everything, you know?
Right.
And if you're open
Right.
to one thing, how is that so impossible?
Right. Right.
Exactly. And I mean, we've talked about the Fae and the different kinds of entities there are within that realm, which it is huge. There's a lot of things that are kind of grouped together in that. And I'm like, well, if you believe in the Fae, how come you don't believe in Bigfoot?
Or like aliens. People are like, oh, there's definitely aliens. I'm like, and you don't believe that there's ghosts?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
got lots of stuff
Bigfoot.
are
Okay.
like in the alien stuff, but you talk about ghosts and they're like, Shh, get out of here.
They're like, that is so not
Yeah, I'm like,
logical.
that makes no sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
because aliens communicate telepathically. And like this one skeptic I knew, he was telling me like, yeah, this medium was talking about how she can communicate with aliens. They speak telepathically. But then when it came to spirits, it was like, no. And I'm like, this is, like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And honestly, how much do we know if like the spirits that we're communicating with aren't these other creatures or
Right.
aliens? So like,
Exactly.
it doesn't make sense. Or
No,
whatever
and
creatures we
Krista
can
says that all
experience.
the time. Krista says it all the time. She goes, you think you were talking to a little girl? How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know for sure that it was a little girl?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
We could be talking to anything and anyone. It does.
Right?
Who
I mean, it
knows?
could be an alien. It could be like Bigfoot's little kid or something. I don't know. It could be anything crazy.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, you know, like you said, you know, if you're open to one, you should at least be open to all of it. And you know, Brandy and I both started out and doing ghosts. You know, it was just strictly ghosts. That's all we did.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've pretty much converted to more on the cryptid side of things. We do more of that than we do ghost things. So it becomes addicting. You know, you have your first encounter. It's like, man, you want that again, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a little high.
Yeah.
You know, because we've had our spirit ghost entities, whatever you want to call it. We've had those encounters, and it's just kind of like then there was something new on our spectrum. It was like, okay, now what? So it just kind of makes you know, it makes you dig even deeper into something that you had no knowledge of before. And I'm going to tell you the truth. It's kind of like ghosts with me. The more I learn, the more I'm confused.
Yeah.
I think that's just being human.
I think so. Because you know, it's just like you sit there and you think, okay, you think you know everything about ghosts, and then you don't know nothing. And then it's the same thing everywhere else. It's like, but you're right. I think you got to have an open mind to all of it. But once you have an encounter, and I don't care what kind of encounter, but once you have an encounter, I think you start having more. Do you think that is, you know, something that you've noticed, that if you have one encounter, you will have more?
Yeah, because I think when you're focused on it and you're kind of putting that out there and it calls it in. So that makes sense.
Well, and I feel like that they're all connected, you know, the ghosts, the Bigfoot type creatures,
They're all intertwined.
All of it, I believe, is intertwined. And so I believe if you know, you have these ghost encounters, you're open to it. Who's to say you're not going to be driving down the road and see a Bigfoot cross the road?
Right. The way I like to think about it is, so you buy a new car, right? You love your new car. You start seeing your car everywhere, right?
Yes.
So like you have your first time encounter. You know what that's like. You know what you experienced. So now when you kind of get these little hints, like you're looking for it now because you've seen it, you've experienced it, you know what happens during this encounter. So you're going to be looking for that now. And it's easier to pick up on those little things once you've had that encounter. And then you can have that encounter more and more because now you're seeing these little details that you didn't really think about before, but now it's little things happening here, little things happening here. Oh, encounter.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's pretty cool.
Well, because, you know, Chris and I have talked about this a lot. You know, we're thinking that because we started off in the paranormal and had experienced it from a very young age and just kind of like grew up and grew into it, that that Bigfoot encounter isn't such a far stretch for us because we were already open to the fact that they existed. And so I guess I'm seeing what you're saying, that it's just like you open up the door and there you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like opening up the door to your backyard and you see a whole bunch of stuff you've never seen before.
Yeah.
It's just like that. So yeah,
There it is.
yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that Chris and I are sorting through, because I mean, the encounter that we had was a surprise,
Mm-hmm.
big surprise, and we weren't, we were going to bed. We weren't looking for something like that. I was actually already sleeping. So it was something that I was out actively looking for. So I'm just wondering if something like that, in your opinion, it was something like that, do you think that they feel like that you're more of a safe place for them to show up? I mean, because you're so open to things, do you think that maybe they're like, hey, well, she's already had all this stuff, feel her vibration, she's good, let's go see her?
I guess it depends on the situation. What do you think, Jess?
I think it's the same as like you putting it out there. Connect to it. Yeah, it can draw more of that in. Just like the car example, like that's. But I feel like if you're wanting experience so bad, there's something with energy, like when you really, really want something, and you put too much desperation energy towards it, or you're trying too hard to make it happen. There's a resistance in the energy. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people could be accidentally blocking more from happening because they have expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because like I said, me and Krista, we were going to bed. We were flat out going to bed. That's what happened. I mean, we were going to bed and all that.
What's really cool is that, it wasn't just myself and Brandy that encountered it. Brandy's actually the only one that actually physically saw it. It went on down. We were camping actually in tents, and it was literally 5 feet from behind my head. And I got freaked out, and I sat up on my cot, and we could hear it around our tent. And I actually seen a shadow from the moon come down on my tent, and I seen about from his arm up here to about up to here.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty incredible. And what's really cool about it is the next morning is they got impressions from all over where everybody had said that they had heard something.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got big feet impressions.
That is so cool.
Yeah, big feet everywhere.
Yeah,
Really
Not
cool.
just the 1 foot. You got both feet.
right.
We got feet. Yeah.
You got feet.
Yeah. It was just a really, really cool encounter. And Brandy, she was fortunate enough. She actually saw it. She was.
It was by a fluke and accident, and I'll tell you guys about that when I see it, because it is kind of long and drawn out. But it was all by accident that I saw it. So, I mean, because I'm always wondering about that side of it. It's just like, what was I meant to see it? I had to have. I had to have been meant to see that.
Right place, right time, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I was dead, knocked out, sleeping. I mean, I was so tired. I was knocked out. And for some reason, I heard something walking around, and I woke up.
Yeah.
And there it was.
Yep.
So I'm just like,
Here's
I don't even know how I woke up. Because I was cold. I was in my sleep bag, had my head over my sleeping bag over my head, breathing into my sleeping bag. I was cold. That was
There
it.
you go. Danny Mitchell asked, Jess, do you get a lot of voices trying to reach out to you while driving through some of the battlefields here in Virginia?
Oh,
That's actually a really good question. So my strongest sense is my clairsentient. So I feel a lot of physical pains in my body. So that's normally the first way they get through to me. Like I've driven past battlefields, and I will get like a sharp pain like at my neck and head. Like this one, it felt like my head was like jerked back. Like I was pretty sure somebody got hit with a cannon, decapitated. But yeah, and it will catch me off guard because I'll be like, what was that? And then I'll realize and start looking at a field and be like, okay, that's got to be a battlefield. And, most of the time there ends up being a historic sign around. But yeah, sometimes I'll get voices, but it's more they start having me feel things or sense things in my body.
Wow.
what? Mm-mm. I can't imagine that driving, just driving around town.
It was painful. That one was really painful. Like, I think that would happen in Tennessee, but I have had it happen in Virginia. Wow. There's times where I come home from these trips, actually Missouri, and I landed, I was listening to my EVPs, and when traffic is backed up from the airport, I'll cut through Manassas. And like, yeah, I was so like, of course, sleep deprived coming off a work event, and I was seeing like the spirits everywhere, and I'm like, okay, maybe gotta think about when I'm doing this, like cutting through. But,
yeah. I can't imagine.
Was it the event at McIntyre?
What was the last? It all blurs. What was the last one I was out? No, it was when we did the gallery reading. Me and Aaron did the gallery reading.
Okay. And then we did the Ray County Museum.
Yeah. And then I was there.
Or was it Joplin?
Yeah. No, it was that one. Oh, it was Joplin. Oh, yeah, it was Joplin. Yeah. That one.
It was just
Joplin.
And you gotta ask us, we're like, which one was it? Was it this one, or this one, or this one?
Yeah, that's where I hate when people are like, have you been to this state? And I'm like, maybe,
it kind of all just blurs together.
Yeah, I always remember the one we did at Joplin, because the whole feeling of the entire town was like just a uneasy soup bowl.
Me and Katie just caught up and we're talking about it, and she was like, I will never go that place again. And I called it the demon soup bowl. Like, it just had so much dark energy where we were sleeping, like where we invested.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just like all over the place, like everywhere. It just felt like really heavy. But
wow. Yeah. Well, Joplin had that also had that tornado go through there and killed a lot of people.
That was an EF5, wasn't it? That went through there.
Which happened to be like where I think 7 people died, where we had our gallery reading in our event. And I'm like, that makes sense. And me and Aaron, while we were doing the gallery reading, we'd hear you'd hear the wind coming, like we had our senses,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't watched anything on the Joplin tornado, go watch any documentary about it. Even go watch a quick reel about it. Anything, because you'll see the devastation that went across Joplin, Missouri, and it was devastating. So the whole town has an uneasy feeling.
It actually hit the hospital, if I remember correctly. The tornado did, and I think there was a high school graduation ceremony going on at the high school too, if I remember correctly.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, it was just awful. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. You guys are wonderful, and I look forward to seeing you guys next month.
I know, it's going to be so much fun. Bring your sleeping bags, bring your jammies. We're hunting in our pajamas.
I'm so excited. I'm going to bring my baby. I say my baby, but my kid's going to be 16 this year, so not so much of a baby.
They'll always be your baby, though. Remember that. My baby is 32 years old, so always your baby.
Well, thank you for having us. This was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. How's your daughter doing, Jess?
Great.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's doing really good. Like, it's such a turnaround. So, like,
I'm glad she came through her surgery and everything went well. I was kind of nervous for her for the first couple of days. I was scared a little bit.
Oh man, that was a mess. That held us up so much. But I'm just glad, like, I figured it out, and thank God it's turned around, and she's in way less pain now. Every day she's getting more and more flexible. Like, she can look down now, so she's excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was able to shave her own legs, and like, so she's excited to be able to do like little normal things again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm actually gonna get food like tonight and watch ghost shows with them and hang out, because
nice.
Today I'm heading to Tombstone, so like big road trip, Tombstone all the way to California and then back home.
Oh my gosh, that's a drive.
Yeah. So it's definitely my down night. It's like food and ghost shows and sleeping.
There you go.
If anybody's interested, I'm dropping the link for the event at Ashmore Estates. We have these 2 lovely ladies going to be there. Letitia Nunnelly. I know most of you guys in chat know Letitia. Paranormal Paul's going to be there. We have Robin Terry. And we have Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor. And then we also have Paranormal Paul, who's also been in chat. So I've dropped the link in chat. And if anybody's interested, tickets are available. And thank you, ladies, very much. Definitely appreciate this. Don't hang up yet. Hang on until we get backstage.
Click.
Bye.
Yeah. But real quick, I want to thank Liberty 1776, Mozo, and Hunter. And we have Ernest. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Definitely
you.
appreciate all of that. And I want to remind everybody to turn into Paranormal Roundtable. Josh and the gang, they'll be going live probably in about another half hour or so. So catch them, guys. And we will see you guys. When will we? Next week. Well,
Next Thursday. Next Thursday. Yeah.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, because next Friday I'm going to Falk, Arkansas. I will be at the
That's right. You are.
Bigfoot conference in Falk, Arkansas. So if you're out that way, come check us out. Tex and I will be there. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll see you then.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.